Thank you, Dan, and thank you, everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you. And Dan had asked me to speak to you about some aspects of Thomas Berry. So I don't know if all of you or any of you are familiar with Thomas Berry, but he called himself a geologian, and he's really, we call him a master of wisdom and a prophet, eco-prophet for our time. So I thought today, at Dan's request, I would introduce Thomas Berry and our own relationship to him, and also offer some images of hope, uh, so deeply needed in our time. We are out there on the lines, and we also need to nourish the soul life, the spirit life, so that we can have the stamina to come together and deal with what we are inside of. So I'm hoping tonight that this would be more of a, I wanted to fashion it more of as a contemplative experience rather than, more input, because I often think, how much more input do we need? We have input here, there, and everywhere. And I kept on asking the sisters I live with, what is needed at this time? What is it that we need? So I kind of have been coming to the conclusion based on, my own self and some conversations that I'm having, that maybe in part what's needed is to kind of relax the being and just tend to the interior for a bit. So I'm going to do that today by offering you some images, some time for conversation together. I will offer some input a little bit, some poetry, and so I'm hoping that what happens tonight will touch the soul life of us and also ignite our collective wisdom. So that's what I'm aiming for. So let's see what happens here. So what I want to do first is I wanted to do like a call to prayer or a call to hope. And I'm going to share a little story, image, and a song to do that. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. Can you see that? Just give me a thumbs up so I know that. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so, okay, in 1977, NASA launched the Voyager spacecraft with the scientific objective of photographing the planets of the outer solar system in order to furnish the very first portrait of our cosmic neighborhood. So human eyes had never before seen the aquamarine of Uranus, or Neptune's stunning deep blue orb. Nor had we seen the fury of Jupiter's great red spot, which is a storm that's more than 3 times the size of our planet, and it's been raging for 300 years. So the very existence of this storm actually really dwarfs our earthly troubles. But the Voyager had another mission, another more imaginative mission than just capturing the neighborhood planets and stars. And aboard the Voyager was the Golden Record. And that was a time capsule of the best of the human spirit, encrypted on binary code on a 12-inch gold plate copper disc, which is what you're looking at. And that record contained the greetings in 54 of the most popular human languages on the planet. It also included many sounds of our human experience, like the cries of babies, the song of humpback whales, and it had about 117 images of life on the planet. And it had many, many more things. It had a lot of sounds on this golden record, like the erupting of a volcano. It had the music of Bach. And it also included a Bulgarian folk song that was sung by generations of shepherdesses with harmonies that express the suffering and hope of people like ourselves through 5 centuries. And so they wanted to capture like the essence of our human experience coded in melody. Now, Carl Sagan, who envisioned the golden record, saw the music selection as something that would say about us what no words could ever say. So the golden record was meant to convey the essence of us as a species, our creativity and the richness of life on Earth to some other extraterrestrial civilization. And their idea was that, so you see the golden record here on the Voyager in the middle there. But the idea was that the Voyager would land somewhere in which the great improbability of finding this spacecraft amid cosmic infinitude would be found. And there would be a civilization out in the galactic space that would have the necessary technology to decode the golden record and comprehend it. But the golden record's unstated objective, even more than what I'm explaining, was to mirror back to us our deepest essence, our goodness, our forbearance, and our capacity to love at a time like now when we seem to have forgotten who we are and what it means to share this fragile planet. Now, when the Voyager completed its exploratory mission on Valentine's Day, 1990, and took the last photo of Neptune, at the urging of Carl Sagan, the camera was turned back around and took one final photo of Earth from a distance with low resolution, which became known and is now known as the pale blue dot, a grain of dust suspended in space. And Carl Sagan wrote what's called the Pale Blue Dot monologue, in which, in part, he says, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every hero, every coward, every inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, and every corrupt politician, every dictator and spiritual master has lived their lives on this pale blue dot. And on this grainy pixel, barely perceptible against the cosmic backdrop of endless lonesome space, all that we know in our lifetimes and beyond, before and ahead, has happened. So in the cosmic blink of our current situation, as we struggle on this increasingly fragmented pixel, which you can see, it looks like a white dot up there. It's worth keeping the Voyager in mind because its existence may give us some perspective amid the madness and chaos of our present moment. And so I'd like to just do a brief meditation on the pale blue dot. And I'm going to use the haunting melody of the Bulgarian folk song that is on the golden record. And this will be our call to prayer. So I'd like you to just take in this pixel. This is us. And with the haunting melody of the Bulgarian folk hymn. let's take this in for one more minute as we look at this pixel that is us and feel the essence of the cry of this music. It's so pertinent for today. And we'll end on that note then. So coming back into this space, I'm really curious about what's moving in you as you saw that pale blue dot out in space and heard that Bulgarian folk hymn and pondered the record that is on the Voyager that is right now in the vastness of space and wondering, will anyone find it and be able to decode it? I would like to just, if you'd like to, if something's moving in you, I'd like to hear maybe two of you just speak out, one or two voices or three. Let's see. Can you unmute yourself if this is moving in you in any way? The image, the sound, what it means to have our essence reflected back to us in that recording, in the golden record, the goodness that we are, the wholeness. Anyone like to speak?
I wanted to thank you, Gail. This has been very moving, and I thought that that record on the satellite or whatever you call it, it was a wonderful thing to share with us. I found it so profound that my silence afterwards was just sort of wishing it had not ended ever.
Mm.
Um, and I don't know. That's all I have to say. But
Mm.
thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, everyone. So now we have this is a beautiful image that we can hold tonight and take into even our dream time. The pale blue dot, this golden record, this Voyager that is actually traveling in the far reaches of space. And we could wonder if anyone is ever going to find it. And if they do, will they be able to reflect back to us our deep goodness? So with that, let's start now. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully this is going to work because I want to get into in the introduction to Thomas Berry. Okay, so here we go. I entitled this presentation Wisdom Master of the Ecozoic. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Thomas Berry, and then we, at the end of this part, make application to ourselves because we always want to take this in and see how it could inform our inner lives and our action in the world. So the first thing you need to know about Thomas Berry was that he was a brooder. So it's a strange word. We don't usually use that word, but he always referred to himself as a brooder. And he would say, well, I'm brooding. I need to brood. And even as a child, Thomas would like to sit alone and brood. So the meaning of brooding means to think deeply about issues of grave concern. So I would think that probably all of us can apply the word brooding or brooder to ourselves at this time because we are thinking deeply about the issues that are of grave concern to ourselves and the entire planet. So if you think of Thomas Berry, I want you to always think of brooding, because the deep thinking is what helped him from childhood to adulthood to old age, till the time of death even, to come to what he came to and contribute to an ecozoic vision. Now, Thomas was actually born as named William Nathan Berry. And he came from a family of 13 children. So if you count, well, I think Thomas is the one, two, three, four, fourth, I think fourth from the right. I think that's Thomas. And he was named William Nathan Berry, but his family called him brother. So you're going to have to juggle three names. So he was called William Nathan Berry, but then his family called him brother, and later on he became Thomas. So that's his name story. And he was born in Greensboro, North Carolina, in the Piedmont region of that country. So the Piedmont region, bioregionally, is between the mountains, the high mountains, and the coastal plain. And Brother was blessed by what he called moments of grace. So he had these moments of grace in his life that set the course for his future direction. And as you know, a moment of grace is a moment that's irreversible. It's a one-time event. It can never be repeated again. And you have to take the moment when the moment comes, or it could just disappear. So I want to talk to you and just share briefly three moments of grace that shaped the life and thinking of Thomas Berry. The first was the bulldozer, the second, the meadow, and the third, the Jesuit paleontologist Teilhard de Chardin. So when Thomas Berry was a boy of about, young boy, 10 years old and younger, he used to run barefoot through the roads and fields of North Carolina. And one day, probably around the age of 10, the bulldozers came in and they started to pave the road with asphalt, the black tar, which caused the road to, of course, the road became very hot. And Thomas was no longer able to run barefoot on the road. And as a brooder, he began to look at what was happening, not only to the road, but to the plants alongside the road and the life community. In a sense, I think he captured in this reality and metaphorically that the bulldozer was beginning to roll over, to tar over the community of life. And he decided at that point that he would spend the rest of his life critiquing the industrial era and the press of the industrialization. So he was questioning at that time, why are adults doing this? Why are adults tarring over the life community? They seem to not be able to see what he saw. And he called his generation, he called that generation an autistic generation. He said they are closed in on themselves. They cannot move out. And so he spent a lot of his childhood in a very difficult, stressful situation because he had really no one he could communicate with because the adults did not understand. So that was his first moment of grace. It was the bulldozer. Because as I said, at that time, he committed himself to the critique of the industrial era. Now, the second moment of grace happened when he and his family moved to this house. It was on Colonial Avenue in Greensboro. And the house had a backyard, and the backyard had a ravine that he would cross and a river. So one day he crossed the ravine, the river, and he came into a meadow. And the meadow was filled with the wild Adamasco lilies. And when he came into this meadow with these wild lilies and with the sound of the birds and the crickets, etc., he had what I like to call a geophany. He had a geophany, meaning he fell to his knees and he had the experience of the presence of the divine in the natural world, in the geosphere. And this is what he wrote later on in his life. He said, "The field was covered with white lilies, a magic moment that gave my life something that seems to explain my life at a more profound level than almost any other experience I can remember." And this meadow became the metaphor for him, for the earth community. So later on in his life, he said, "My orientation is this simple. Whatever protects this meadow and its natural cycles is good, and whatever harms this meadow is not good." So that's a simple orientation, but he made application. So he would say, like, a good education would teach about, learn from the meadow, and a good religion would celebrate the meadow, and a good jurisprudence would protect the meadow, and a good, let's see, what else was there? Religion, education, law, economics. A good economics would know how to take from the meadow but give back. So the orientation, while simple, was, very profound. And so for the rest of his life, that meadow experience, or that moment of grace, uh, formed for him the image of earth. Earth became the meadow, and what protects earth is good, and what harms earth is not, in that orientation. So we have the bulldozer, and then we have this geophany where he experiences the mystery of the divine in earth. And then finally, we'll have the third one. But in the meantime, what happens is that because Thomas Berry was a brooder, look at the bottom, what I wrote on the bottom. He said, "I needed a place to brood." And he said, "I was thinking either I'm going to have to go to jail or go to the monastery," because he thought those are the only two places he could think of where he could really brood. So he chose the monastery instead of going to jail. And when he got to the monastery, he entered what's called the Passionist order in the Catholic tradition. And he took the name Thomas Aquinas. So Thomas Aquinas was a doctor of the church. And this is what Thomas Aquinas said: "For each thing in its nature is good, but all things together are very good by reason of the order of the universe." So Thomas Aquinas wrote what's called the Summa Theologica, which was giant, thick reflections, on theology and life. And so Thomas Berry took the name Thomas from Thomas Aquinas. And Thomas Aquinas would speak about these kind of things, like the divine created many things in the universe because no one thing could represent the divine. But the accumulation of all the things in the universe can give us an experience of who the divine is. So while Thomas was in the monastery, he entered the Passionist monastery, and he had said at one point, tell us not about the passion of Christ in ancient times, but about the passion of earth in our times." So Thomas, from the beginning, again, because you saw the bulldozer experience, the meadow experience, had a deep sense of suffering, of earth's suffering. Now, Thomas was changed. Thomas became a cultural historian. And while he was in the Passionist and studying cultural history, he came across the Jesuit scientist and paleontologist Teilhard de Chardin. And Teilhard gave Thomas Berry the grand vision of a more comprehensive sacred story, which is the unfolding universe story. And this broke Thomas out of the confines of human and Earth history, because that's where he was focused in his studies. But when he came to Teilhard, Teilhard broke him open into a vision of the unfolding story of the universe. And Teilhard, let's see, Teilhard gave Thomas three orientations that are important. So if you want to know Thomas Berry, you need to know these three orientations given to him by Teilhard, which broke him out of human history, Earth history, and catapulted him into cosmic history. So the first of the orientations is this. Teilhard gave him a sense of cosmogenesis, which means that we're not in a static cosmos, but we're in a cosmos that is unfolding. And Teilhard called it a time developmental cosmos, which means, as science is at least telling us now, the universe began about 13.7 billion years ago, and it continues to unfold. So that sense of movement, that the cosmos is unfolding, we're in a cosmogenesis rather than a static universe. That was the first. And the second orientation that Teilhard gave Thomas was that matter is a numinous reality, which consists of both physical and spiritual dimensions. So I want to say that in another way. What Teilhard taught Thomas was that the universe has both a psychic spiritual dimension as well as a physical material dimension. And as we unfold in this universe, as matter unfolds, so does spirit. So this is great. Like these aspects, and why I'm sharing 1, 2, and 3 with you, is because in our time when we're on this small pixel that is Earth, and things seem so dreadful, so like incomprehensible, like we're not going to make it. In a certain sense, we are, I'm giving images of helping us just jump off the small reality of the moment into more, wider space. Like look at that pale blue dot in vastness of space, intelligent space. And this is another aspect of a cosmogenesis, that the universe is moving towards higher and deeper levels of expression of itself. So we're not in a universe that goes backwards into the density, the density of an orientation of that which we're seeing right now. We're in a universe that pushes us towards greater becoming, greater wholeness, greater truth and love and intelligence. So that's what he means, that the interior of ourselves. So what do we mean by the interior? So we mean those aspects of truth, of love, of capacity for wisdom, capacity for clarity, etc. So you just want you to get a feel of that. So this is an image to give you a feel. And the third thing Thomas learned from Teilhard was that the universe and the earth they're a communion of subjects, not a collection of objects. That we're in relationship with beings that have a subjectivity or an interiority. And everything that is has a deep interiority. What does that mean? That means everything that is has its own isness that's different than every other being. And every being in the universe has its agency and wants to fulfill its role in the community of existence. So a crocodile wants to be the fullness of its crocodile self. And Moji wants to be the fullness of his Moji self. I want to be the fullness of myself, and you want to be the fullness of yourself. So these are the three aspects that really shaped Thomas as he went forward. So I hope you're remembering. Did you remember what the first one is? Somebody? What is the first one we just looked at?
Cosmogenesis.
Yes, thank you. So we looked at cosmogenesis, that we're unfolding, And what was the second one?
Matter has spiritual and physical dimensions.
Yes, thank you. And the third one?
The communion of subjects not odd.
Thank you, Genevieve. Genevieve, you're saving the day here. Thank you. Thank you. So now we're holding quite a number of images, from the beginning. We're holding quite a number, and I hope they're positive images for you. So Thomas Berry was in the genre of wisdom teachings, and his teachings have to do with the transformation of the human within the universe Earth community. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with Thomas Berry, these are some of his key volumes. So if you want to read a book of Thomas Berry, in the future, I would recommend starting with The Dream of the Earth, because that is like his first volume around all of this, and it's a brilliant, very, very positive, hopeful. Also recommend The Great Work and The Universe Story, which he wrote with Brian Swim, and then The Christian Future and Fate of the Earth, for those of you who might be in the Christian tradition, and those of you interested in how he is incorporating, how do we live the Christian tradition within a cosmogenesis and in an unfolding universe. So those are his books. Thomas considered himself a geologian, and what that meant was he considered himself a visionary for Earth. And he articulated a unique vision and a manifesto for the revival of a flourishing Earth community. So what was Thomas's manifesto? He called his manifesto The Great Work. And he also said we need a new story, that we're in between stories right now, that we're living out of an old story, but we haven't taken the leap fully into the new story. And when he talks about the new story, he doesn't just mean, oh, we're learning a new story about the universe, but he meant a newly recovered way of thinking, that the consciousness shifts because we understand ourselves in a new way, more comprehensive context. And the other word here is the Ecozoic era, that you'll hear that in relationship to Thomas Berry. And the Ecozoic era is a new era. Ecozoic means house of life. So eco means household, and zoa is life. So I'll show you an image in a moment to help you, understand this better. But a new era when our living house, the Earth, might once again be the home of a vibrant, flourishing vitality in the aftermath of this age of human desecration. So the positive orientation of Thomas Berry here was to bring about the Ecozoic era, which is what the third wave is doing in the way that you all are working towards a new Earth. So just so that you understand, why did Thomas Berry use Ecozoic? And it's a word, another word for, if you're studying Thomas Berry, it would be good for you to know. So he just situated Ecozoic within the unfolding of Earth. Early Earth was called Paleozoic, and then the Middle Earth was Mesozoic. Zoa means life. And then the Cenozoic, that's the last 65 million years of Earth. And then we're ending this Cenozoic period. So we're faced with an Ecozoic, or he said a Technozoic. Technozoic meant the destruction of the planet. He wasn't against technology, but he used the word technozoic, as the destruction of a planetary community. So we want to aim for the house of life. And he said that this Ecozoic can only be born if our species reinvents itself, the reinvention of ourselves as creative participants in the great community of life. So this this concept of ecozoic, which means the reinvention of ourselves, is the essential labor of the great work. So that we have to reinvent ourselves within the community of life. Now, I know what I'm saying sounds so far away from where we are, but let's hold a vision, at least for tonight, of something that might be possible and take that with us into our future, because we have to have something that's strong. So to end this section, and then I'm going to talk to you, ask you for, maybe we have a little breakout group. I want you to listen to Thomas Berry. So for those of you who never even met him or saw him, Thomas Berry is reciting a poem called Earth's Desire. So I'd like you to listen to that poem.
Called Earth's Desire. What does the earth really want in relationship to ourselves? What was the earth looking for when it brought us into being? And this is the answer to that question. Called Earth's Desire. To be seen in her loveliness, to be tasted in her delicious fruits, to be listened to in her teaching, to be endured in the severity of her discipline, to be experienced as that maternal source whence we become the final destiny to which we return. It's that simple. That's simple. Here we have it. To be seen in her loveliness. To be seen in her loveliness. To be tasted in her delicious fruits. To be tasted in her delicious fruits. To be listened to in her teaching. To be endured in the severity of her discipline. To be experienced as the maternal source whence we came. To be experienced as the maternal source whence we came. The destiny to which we return. The destiny to which we return.
So that's Thomas. And he is talking about that recovery of a second innocence. He calls it, from the Chinese, that he said, what must be sought for is the recovery of a second innocence, an earlier interior experience of the luminous universe, named by the Chinese as the lost mind of the child. So, well, welcome back, everyone. I'm going to share my screen again because we're going to pick up at the second part of this. So when Dan asked me to present this on Thomas Berry, Dan also asked how do you connect your own work as Sisters of the Earth community with Thomas Berry? Like, how did that even happen? So I just wanted into this brief section just to share who we are and how that happened. And I want to also start with myself as a child. So this is related, Thomas Berry, I was sharing about what happened to him as a child with the bulldozer, etc. And for myself, yes, as a child, I was always like, a kind of a mystic type of a child and open to mystery. And one day I had this experience of lying in bed and I was looking at my hands. And I said to myself, I was 6 years old, and I said, well, what does it mean to be me? And I kept on asking, what does it mean to be me? And I wouldn't stop. I don't know how long I asked the question for. And suddenly it was like the veils between worlds fell apart. And I realized that the reality of who I am is one with the entire cosmic process. Like I am not separate, a separate I from the totality. So it was like a mystical experience at an early age of the unity of reality. And so, yeah, so this was me when, at the age that I had that experience. And so that experience imprinted in me in a way that shaped, it was a moment of grace for me as well, because it oriented me in my own life direction towards that sense of the divine, the sense of mystery, and a knowing that unmistakably that we are one with the totality and there's no separation between self and anything else in the cosmos. So that shaped me forward into my life direction. So on the left-hand side, I have these words. Remember, Thomas Berry said he's either going to go to jail or go to a monastery because he wanted to brood. And after that experience I had of the unity of reality with my hands, I remember hearing somebody say that there are only 37 people in the world. There are 37 people who hold the world together. And these are awakened beings. But nobody knows who these 37 people are. And the 37 people do not know who they are. They don't know if they're one of those 37 people who are holding the world together, because they're holding the world together by the deep interior, by the integrity of their interior. They've like crossed over into the great opening of the heart. And I always oriented toward that. I want to do that. I want to be one of those 37 people because the world needs to be held together. And as a kid, I was thinking, what happens if those 37 people stop holding the world together? What's going to happen? So this is, kind of metaphorical from another tradition. I think the story came perhaps from the Jewish tradition. I'm not sure. But the orientation for me was I have to put myself in a place where I can hold the world together. I can become a wisdom figure, or I can enter into the great opening of the heart, or at least work towards that, because that cracking open will be, if I crack open, the world cracks open in a deeper love and a deeper holding together. So I joined a monastery as well as Thomas, and it just so happened that the monastery I joined was also the Passionist monastery. So if you remember, he joined the Passionist. So I joined the Passionist, not knowing anything about him. And when I was a novice, the community brought in Thomas Berry to give us classes, and he oriented us to our place in the universe. Now, I already knew, so Thomas was teaching the intellectual, he was teaching the scientific account of who we are and where we come from and where we belong, how we are. But I already knew this because I had the mystical awakening that we're from, where we are here, we're in the vast, a vast cosmic process. And so when I met Thomas Berry, it was like this union, or this coming together of the intellectual and the mystical, the coming together where the universe coalesced in a more integrated way in myself. And so he said that you have to orient your entire religious life to this understanding of unity and of oneness with the cosmic processes. So I began to study with him at the Riverdale Center for Religious Research. I probably began in 1984, but he began in 1970. So Thomas Berry had this place called the Riverdale Center for Religious Research. It was in the Bronx. And if you look at this tree, this was called the Great Red Oak. It was a 500-year-old tree, and he dedicated his book, the Dream of the Earth, to the great red oak under whose branches he wrote that volume. And so, yeah, 1983 or so. That's me when I, as a novice, began to study with Thomas Berry, and he's opening up my own heart and mind to the story of the universe. And I think this is an interesting thing. Like Thomas Berry, if you were a friend of Thomas Berry at the time, he would take you to the Broadway diner. So he would always bring people to this Broadway diner in the Bronx, New York. And you would be eating like your eggs and toast or breaking bread open, but he would be speaking about the vast extent of space and time, about cosmogenesis, about our place in the story of the universe, about an unfolding universe, etc. And I used to think, what are people talking about in the other booths? You know, they may be talking about the laundry or about what meal we're going to cook. But Thomas Berry's talking about vast concepts of universe unfolding, trying to orient us, you know, outside of the small confines that we often find ourselves in. And he was talking about the spirituality of the fireball, meaning that from the beginning, the universe has had that spiritual dimension. It has been a revelation of the divine from the beginning in both its material and its physical unfolding, and that the universe can be trusted, that the universe has gone through 13.7 billion years of trial and error, and all kinds of difficulties. But in the larger arc of universe unfolding, we make it. The universe is inherently creative and has imagination. And so he began to, tell us the story, which is represented in this timeline here, that 13.7. So in 1991, I made my final vows, and I really, vowed into cosmogenesis, vowed into the divine manifesting in the cosmic processes. I really dedicated my life to the teaching of this work and the living it out. So that's me with Thomas Berry on my day of final profession of vows. And then in 1994, Thomas Berry wrote a paper called Women Religious, the Voice of Earth. And he said, in the history of the Catholic Church, Catholic sisters founded religious orders to meet the needs of the human community, but never was a community founded to meet the needs of Earth and the life systems. So sisters were founded to teach, to do social work, to found hospitals, to minister to humans, but there has never been one founded for Earth, for the protection of Earth, for the orientation of Earth. So in 1999, myself and Sister Bernadette Bostwick, she's on the right, along with Thomas Berry, set off on the grand venture of founding Sisters of the Earth community. And we founded that in 1999, and the place that we ended up in, we call Green Mountain Monastery. So sometimes we're known as Sisters of the Green Mountain Monastery, but our real name is Sisters of the Earth Community. And this is Thomas Berry giving us his blessing. So Sisters of the Earth Community, we could say we're an intergalactic and interspecies community. And on the right-hand side are our Sister Ani from Indonesia, Sister Bernadette, myself, and Sister Chris, also from Indonesia. Those are the ones in the picture. And then when people ask us, oh, well, how many are in your community? We just say innumerable. We cannot count the members in our community because we don't consider our monastery the building or the members just the humans. So we're in relationship with the whole community of life, and that is that we say the mountain is the monastery, or the whole thing is the galaxy, the universe is the monastery. So we kind of, you can hear like, our orientation is a little different than your more traditional religious community. So in addition to the United States, we have this land now in Indonesia, and our Sister Chris is leading. Sister Chris is in the middle with the green cap, and Sister Ami and I were there to do a land blessing in February of this year. And we also have these sisters in Africa, in Kenya. And so we're beginning a community in the Nairobi area. So these are all the human manifestations of Sisters of the Earth community. We also have a group called the Co-Sisters. And co-sisters are women who have primary commitments, but are able to integrate those commitments with us and join us in our work. So but our main question as we're living is how to live consciously in a multi-species world. And these are questions that we're asking ourselves as Sisters of the Earth community. How do we live in a multi-species world? We're not just in a human world, and we could barely live in a human world, right? But we're pushing the edges here but we can't exist without the community of life. So I'm going to go through these last couple slides quickly, but we're asking this question. And so we're saying, well, we have to notice things, the beings that we live with. Notice. We need to ask permission. Like, may I step into your field of energy instead of barging into all aspects of the life community without permission, without consideration? Like, you wouldn't just open a door and just go into someone's room without knocking. So we're asking permission. These are just little things I'm sharing with you to answer that question. How do we live in a multi-species world? These are small steps we're taking. We try to build relationship with the beings that are other than human. And we ask the beings, like, can I help you? So if a spider gets in the house, we don't run for the can of Raid. We take a piece of paper and try to take it out, because a spider in the house probably doesn't want to be there either and is probably quite frightened. We ask the question, can I help you? Now, this butterfly had a broken wing. As you could see here, it wasn't doing well. So Sister Ami and I looked up on the internet, particularly Sister Ami. She's got great facility with her hands, and figured out how to fix the wing of the butterfly. So we had an old wing and we glued the wing on to a butterfly, and it ended up being able to fly again. So we answered the question, how can I help you? And then we do an honorable closure when we have to pull things, pull weeds, kill life, which we do have to do. We kind of like respectfully bury whatever we're, taking or killing, having to kill for our food or whatever, take its life force away, honorable closure. And another thing is we do simple ceremonies with intention. So I myself have taken to writing love letters, and I write these little letters and I stick them all over the land in Thanksgiving for each of the beings that I'm writing a love letter to, a particular one. Oh, this tree, or that bush, or that path, or that soil, or that garden. So simple. We have to negotiate space with the mice and with the animals who come into our space, and negotiating is part of it. And we're trying to also open up to communication with species beyond the human. So these are some of the things we do. And Thomas Berry says that there is a need for great courtesy toward the earth. He says we are coming back to this once more out of our new mode of understanding the universe. So I would like you to just take in the word courtesy for a moment. What is that? And just silently in yourself, take that in. What is courtesy? I'd like to just do an exercise with you, a breathing exercise to help with that. So this is how the breathing exercise goes. What I'd like you to do, I know there's quite a lot of you, but it's okay. We're going to unmute. Okay, so if you can, just unmute yourself. And in this breathing exercise, when we breathe in, we're going to, oh, I'm sorry. First, what I'd like you to do is bring to mind a being that you would like to say thank you to. You could look around your house. You might have a plant. There might be an animal, or you might look out your window. Try to offer a thank you to a being other than a human. But if there is only humans around you, that's okay too. You could do that. So what we're going to do is together we're going to breathe in and we'll say thank you. And then when we breathe out, we're going to say I need you. And then we'll breathe in, thank you, and breathe out, I need you. Okay, so let's try that, and it will just be at your own pace. So this will be our prayer. We'll just hear a lot of voices. Well, but speak low, just like very softly, like, thank you.
Need you.
I need you.
Okay.
Let's go.
Need you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You,
I need you.
Diary,
You.
need
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I need
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
I need you.
You. I need you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I need you.
Need you. Thank
Thank you.
I need you.
you.
Need you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
need you.
Thank you.
I need you.
Need you.
Need you.
Thank you.
Need
I need you.
you.
Need you. Thank you.
I need you.
Thank
you.
I need you.
Thank
Thank you. I
you.
need you.
Thank you. I need you. Thank you. I need you. Thank you. I need you. Thank you. I need you. Thank you. I need you. Thank you. I need you. Thank you. Thank you. I need you. Thank you. I need you. Thank you. I need you. Thank you. Thank you. I need you. Thank you. I need you.
Okay, maybe we just take one more
Need.
breath in with just whoever you want to offer this to. Take one more thank you and I need you. Okay, let's go.
Thank you.
I
I
need you.
need you.
I need you.
Thank you. Beautiful. So now we're just moving on to a closure. And this is the latest book by our friend Kathleen Deacon, A Book of Hours. of the writings of Thomas Berry. So she's divided the book into dawn, day, dusk, and dark. So every day of the week has those 4 elements, and all of Thomas Berry's writings are in this book. So before we go on, just everyone mute yourselves, or Dan, you could mute everyone from your host. Thank you, Dan. So I'm going to end with maybe just a quote from Thomas Berry from this book, and then I'm going to end with a song. One of the things that Thomas was always speaking about was the need for a recovery of our sense of the sacred. So in all of that, it came down to the need to recover our sense of the sacred. So I'd like to just end with a song of Thomas's words put to music, that we need to recover our sense of the sacred. And then that will close our time together. So we don't have enough time to go over all that I was going to do here. So we're just going to go here. Okay, so I'm going to start with this now.
We will recover our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves. We will recover our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves. We will recover our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves. Beyond ourselves. Beyond ourselves. Recover our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves. We will recover our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves. Beyond ourselves. We will recover our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves. We will recover our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves. The universe beyond ourselves. Beyond ourselves. And our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves. Beyond ourselves. We will recover our sense of wonder and our sense of the sacred only if we appreciate the universe beyond ourselves.
So thank you so much, everyone. And on that note, I hope you have a beautiful evening or day wherever you are, and that this maybe in some way has helped lift up your spirits in some way, and will fuel you for the work that you have ahead. And thank you, Dan, for the invitation. So happy to have been invited to share this with all of you.
Thank you, Gail, for the last hour and a half. I see a lot of smiling faces, great notes going by. I'm smiling. It's just been wonderful today. And to hear what you've had to say and the way you did it, I'm going to always look at diners very differently going forward and all sorts of other things, some new things to read, some music to get. That Bulgarian theme at the beginning was just amazing. So it's been an amazing evening. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to the next time we get to sit down and have some tea or something.